Nella Divina Commedia, Dante è un guerriero che al ritorno alle crociate scopre che Beatrice è stata rapita da Lucifero e scende all'inferno per liberarla. Non è proprio ciò che ricordavate dai libri di scuola? Naturale, perché questa è la trama del videogioco Dante's Inferno, in uscita a inizio 2010, che Jonathan Knight ha presentato alla VIEWFest di Torino.
Video game Dante's Inferno, we obviously there's some ways in which we're being quite literal with the original material. I mean, Dante had an amazing vision of hell, the geography of the real place, the 9 circles, the rivers, the cities, the forests, the monsters and characters. He kind of created a fantastical universe, and we've really done our best to quite literally bring those descriptions and those images to life in the game. The challenge we had was that the video game is full of action, and everybody wants to play a hero. And from a narrative standpoint, the story of La Divina Commedia, there's not a lot of fighting or conflict or drama. And Dante is not a particularly heroic figure. He's more of an intellectual and a poet. And so this is something that we had to change. But what we wanted to do with the game was, at the end of the day, still use Beatrice as the central figure, because she's so important to the original poem, and she's very important to Dante, the poet. And so we started with her, and we simply changed the story slightly so that rather than Beatrice being in paradise and Dante's on a pilgrimage to go find her, we made her a captive of hell. So Lucifer has actually kidnapped Beatrice and taken her into hell, and Dante is more of a warrior who goes on a mission to rescue her. So it's a little bit of a change to the story, but it basically gives us a reason for him to fight and to be a fighter.
Oltre che al testo originale, gli sviluppatori del videogioco hanno potuto prendere spunto da oltre 6 secoli di storia dell'arte.
Well, one of the really fun things about the project is just all the research that we've been able to do into what other artists throughout the centuries have done with Dante. And you find going back to the Renaissance with Botticelli and all through the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, and particularly in the Romantic era, a kind of revival in Dante with some amazing paintings by French painters and Dutch painters. And then you get into Gustave Doré in the 1800s with the incredible series of illustrations, 130 illustrations of the Divine Comedy, and then into the 20th century, Salvador Dali, Wayne Barlow, and on and on. And so there was just so much material, and so we could really look at what all these artists had done over the centuries, and then try to give our own unique take on the character designs and the environments and so forth. So just using an example, King Minos is the judge of the dead. He's the legendary king of Crete who's sitting at the end of limbo and the beginning of lust, and he judges people. Dante describes him as a giant with the tail of a snake, and we see him depicted that way in the Doré illustrations, and we were actually quite literal because it makes a great video game character, a giant with the tail of a snake who's judging the damned and blocking the way to the rest of hell. So with some of the characters, we could actually really lean pretty heavily on those original drawings, and with others, of course, we've have our own brilliant artists who are coming up with even newer and crazier visions for those characters.